According to the Penrose equation, tau equals h bar divided by EEG. Since EEG is now larger, the collapse time tau must become shorter. A shorter collapse time means that the moments of conscious experience are occurring more frequently. If the baseline frequency was 40 Hz, one collapse every 25 milliseconds, a shorter tau, say 24 milliseconds, would correspond to a new, higher frequency of about 41.7 Hz. The prediction of ORCH-OR is therefore crystal clear. The subject with the heavier microtubules should exhibit a small but measurable increase in the frequency of their gamma band brainwaves during conscious processing. The magnitude of this frequency shift can even be estimated. It depends on several factors, including what fraction of the tubulin protein's mass is in superposition and how much heavier the isotopes make it. Using reasonable estimates from the model, the predicted frequency shift might be on the order of 1 to 3%. While small, this is well within the detection capabilities of modern neurophysiological recording equipment, provided the experiment is conducted with sufficient precision and statistical power. The theory doesn't just predict a generic change, it predicts a specific direction, an increase in frequency, and a plausible magnitude. This is the hallmark of a strong, falsifiable scientific hypothesis. This result, if observed, would be a seismic event in science. It would provide the first ever experimental evidence that a quantum gravitational process is happening within the brain and is directly linked to the timing of conscious experience. It would be a stunning vindication for the Penrose-Hameroff model and would shatter the purely computational paradigm. It would mean that consciousness is not an algorithm running on arbitrary hardware, but a fundamental physical process that intimately depends on the mass of the particles in our neurons. The ghost in the machine would have been found, and its shadow would have a measurable weight. Now, let's consider the alternative outcome. What do the prevailing computational theories, GNW and IIT, predict for the mass invariance test? Their prediction is just as clear and, in its own way, just as powerful. Nothing should happen. From the perspective of a computational theory, the mass of the atoms is simply an implementation detail, like the brand of silicon used to fabricate a microchip. As long as the logic gates function correctly, the underlying hardware's weight is irrelevant. The brain's algorithm, whether it's a global broadcast or a measure of integrated information, is defined by the pattern of connections and the flow of signals, not by the nuclear mass of the carbon atoms in its proteins. In the GNW model, consciousness occurs when information is broadcast across a specific neural network. The speed and success of this broadcast depend on factors like synaptic strength, neural firing rates, and the overall connectivity of the workspace, not the mass of the microtubules inside the neurons. Changing the isotopic composition of tubulin should not affect any of these parameters. The neurons will still fire, the signals will still propagate, and the information will still be broadcast. Therefore, GNW predicts that the gamma band frequency and any other neural correlate of consciousness should remain completely unchanged between the control and the isotope-heavy subject. The result should be mass invariant. Similarly, for integrated information theory, consciousness corresponds to the value of phi, a measure of a system's causal irreducibility. This value is determined by the system's architecture, the intricate web of cause and effect among its components. While a massive change in mass could theoretically alter signal propagation times, the subtle shift from isotopic labeling is designed to be negligible in this regard. The causal structure of the neural network remains identical. The same neurons are connected to the same partners with the same strengths. Therefore, the integrated information, phi, should not change. IIT, like GNW, predicts a null result. The experiment should show no difference in the neural signatures of consciousness. This null result would be just as profound as a positive one. If a carefully conducted experiment with sufficient power to detect a small effect shows no frequency shift, it would be a major blow to the ORCH-OR hypothesis. It would strongly support the computationalist viewpoint, suggesting that we are on the right track when we model the brain as a complex biological computer. The burden of proof would fall squarely back on those who claim that new physics is required to explain the mind. The mass invariance test thus creates a perfect fork in the road. One path leads to a revolution in physics and neuroscience, the other reinforces the foundations of modern AI and cognitive science. Before we rush to the lab to run our mass invariance test, we really have to confront the towering objection that has faced the Orch-OR theory since its inception. This is the decoherence argument, often summed up with the evocative phrase, "The brain is just too warm, wet, and noisy to support the delicate quantum phenomena that Orch-OR requires." Quantum states, like the superpositions proposed to exist in microtubules, are, well, notoriously fragile. A single stray photon, a thermal vibration, or even a collision with a water molecule can be enough to destroy the quantum coherence, collapsing the superposition into a classical state prematurely and randomly. This process, known as environmental decoherence, is honestly the bane of quantum computing. Critics, most notably the physicist Max Tegmark, have performed calculations suggesting that the decoherence timescale inside a neuron would be astonishingly fast, on the order of femtoseconds or even faster. That's millions of times shorter than the 25 millisecond timescale Orch-OR requires for its gravity-induced collapse to correspond with 40 Hz gamma waves. If these calculations are correct, any quantum superposition in a tubulin protein would be destroyed by the chaotic thermal environment of the cell almost instantly. It would be like trying to hear a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. The quantum signal would just be drowned out by classical noise long before it could ever grow large enough to be orchestrated or reach the Penrose gravitational threshold. This argument strikes right at the very heart of the theory's biological plausibility. It suggests that even if Penrose's physics of objective reduction is correct, the brain is simply the wrong kind of environment to make use of it. Proponents of the standard computational models argue that this is precisely why they are more credible. They rely only on robust, classical, electrochemical processes that are known to operate effectively in the brain's messy environment. They don't need to invoke exotic, fragile quantum states that seem to violate our understanding of thermodynamics and cellular biology.